Oh boy, a brand new DragonForce album. DragonForce, they got a brand new DragonForce album. It's a new one, and it's from DragonForce, and it's brand new, and it's here, and it's brand new, and it's from Dragon. Hi everyone, number one biggest thinny power metal Fantano here, the internet's drunkest music nerd, and today we're talking about Warp Speed Warriors! Brand new studio album, the 9th overall, from DragonForce. But first, just a very quick little reminder, the Metal Meltdown is streaming today. It is our very special St. Patrick's Day party. We haven't done a St. Patrick's Day party in a long time. We're looking forward to seeing you there. We're gonna drink, we're gonna party, shoot the shit, play video games. I'm gonna be there, Anna's gonna be there, Chompy's gonna be there, and hopefully you're gonna be there. I really hope you're gonna be there. It's just, man, it's just not a party without you. It's just not. Gotta be there. Make it happen. I don't know. Call in sick to work. I don't give a shit. Alright, let's talk about Warp Speed Warriors from DragonForce. I don't think I need to explain who DragonForce are. They're one of the most popular power metal bands out there right now. Also, possibly ever. There's a solid chance that even your most, fucking, basic normie metalhead is at least vaguely aware of DragonForce because of this fun little hot jam called Through the Fire and Flames, which may or may not be, a total fucking meme and a total fucking banger, 16, 17 years later. I don't remember how old that fucking song is. I remember when it came out. I remember when it fucking was in Guitar Hero 3, and every fucking 12-year-old on the planet was obsessed with playing it on expert difficulty, and maybe still is. Those 12-year-olds aren't 12 anymore, but that's not the important part about this. The important part about this is you know who DragonForce are, you know that they're very silly, you probably know that power metal is very silly, and you've accepted that, and good for you. But even by power metal standards, and even by DragonForce standards, I need to make this so fucking clear to you all. Warp Speed Warriors is so fucking silly. I feel like DragonForce have just finally totally embraced all of the memes that are made and shared about DragonForce, about power metal. They have fully embraced, video game, fantasy, nerd culture. I mean, for God's sakes, their last album was called Extreme Power Metal, and it had a fucking Celine Dion cover on it, for God's sakes. And somehow this is sillier. Somehow this is fucking sillier, goofier, cheesier, more ridiculous, dare I say. Not bad, not good, just objectively speaking, way fucking sillier. If you looked at me, if you look me straight in the fucking eyes and you go, no, Robert, this new DragonForce, there's nothing silly about it. There's nothing silly about Warp Speed Warriors. I do not take you seriously as a human being. You are not fucking real. Who are you? You've got the opening cut, Astro Warrior Anthem, which is filled with the standard high-octane, glistening, soaring, almost masturbatory vocal and guitar theatrics and dynamics that you expect of DragonForce, but also some little symphonic little bits and pieces here and there, some more epic tones, some neoclassical segments. The whole thing genuinely has the size and the scale of a big bombastic Rhapsody of Fire-esque number, but way more fucking self-aware. And that's just the first fucking song, man. If you can't handle that little measly amount of cheese, don't stick around, because the floodgates fucking burst open immediately after this. I mean, we're talking a full-blown avalanche of liquidy, gooey, molten, bright, radioactive yellow nacho cheese. We're talking a level of cheese so obscene and so powerful, if I were to simply hold a physical copy of this album next to somebody who is lactose intolerant or has IBS, I think they would just, explode. Doomsday Party, for instance, is filled with disco beats and funky bass lines and programmed drums, the kind you would hear in a fucking 80s pop song from Cyndi Lauper or Phil Collins or some shit like that. It's an absolutely bizarre cut, and yet bizarrely, not the most bizarre cut on the album altogether. Honestly, I'm tempted to give that specific honor to a cover of Wildish Dreams, originally from Taylor Swift. Why? Because why not? It's DragonForce covering Taylor Swift. You tell me how that's not bizarre, if you're so fucking smart. Like, they turned this very cutesy, lovey-dovey dream pop song from one of the biggest pop stars on the fucking planet in the history of mankind into, like, this over-the-top, bombastic, extreme power metal opus. Like, tell me how that's not bizarre. Tell me, since you're so fucking smart! And then there's stuff like Power of the Triforce and Space Marine Corps, which are tributes to The Legend of Zelda and Warhammer 40k, respectively. The former of which is your standard power metal anthem, I suppose, all things considered. The latter of which, I don't even know where to begin describing this fucking thing. Like, DragonForce are unironically describing these extreme acts of violence being committed by, like, these nationalistic, imperialistic, warmongering superhumans as if it's, like, this really big, cute, like, fucking power metal bonding exercise. Like, it is weirdly quite bubbly and upbeat at times, to a point where I genuinely can't help but wonder if this is, like, genuine fucking satire. This is not simply a tribute to Warhammer 40k. DragonForce are taking the fucking piss. And you know what the craziest thing is, folks? I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I should. And a part of me wants to, like, deep down, because I don't like power metal. And I especially don't like excessively cheesy power metal like this. And yet, I'm captivated by this. I'm not loving it. I'm probably not going to buy it on vinyl. I'm probably not going to catch DragonForce live in concert anytime soon. But you know what? While this thing was on, for the most part, I was kind of enjoying myself. I mean, sure, okay, if you want to be really serious for a second here, there are a couple of duds, namely Kingdom of Steel. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this track, but I am not a fan at all. It is slow, it is sluggish, it is trying way too hard to be really big and to be really important and really emotional, and it has chimes and these, like, really ugly, generic, like, gang vocals in the chorus, something that feels like it could have been pulled from, like, a early 2010s kind of, like, pop indie song. Not a fan, don't care for it. That absolutely should have been cut from the fucking record. And yeah, also, obviously, the album is, like, overproduced as fuck. Maybe one of the most overproduced power metal albums I've heard in recent memory. But, like, honestly, all things considered, I didn't fucking hate this thing. Mark Hudson sounds great on vocals all the way through. Love all the different guitar pyrotechnics and stuff. I mean, it's a total fucking shred fest for the ages from start to finish. There are also alternate versions of some of the songs I've mentioned thus far, featuring the likes of Matt Heafy from Trivium, Elisa White-Glues from Arch Enemy, Elise Reed from Amaranth, and guitar virtuoso Nita Strauss, who has worked with everyone from Alice Cooper to Angel Vivaldi to Demi Lovato. And they all sound great, and they're all having fun, and so am I! This is way too much fucking cheese for me, and I'm definitely gonna need to see a doctor after this, but, like, fuck it, you only live once, you know? Fuck it, whatever! I'm feeling a very fucking silly out of 5. I think this album is very fucking silly, and if you're very fucking silly, I think that you will like this album as well. I'm not sure I'll ever listen to it again, to be honest with you, but you know what? I enjoyed it while it was on. Props to DragonForce for being, like, one of the few self-aware power metal bands out there and just totally embracing, like, memes and nerd culture and fantasy and sci-fi fucking dribble. Well, I guess there's also Glory Hammer, but those guys turned out to be a bunch of fucking dicks, so whatever, moving on. Anyways, fucking Warp Speed Warriors, very fucking silly out of 5. It's very fucking silly. What more can I possibly say at this point? God fucking damn it. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. Tune into our live stream later today. And if you miss it, don't worry. It'll be archived. You can tune in later. Look, more videos here. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.